Hello, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Today, I'm back from my week-long break, fully refreshed and ready to play some Magic. Gonna start things off with Gruul Werewolves. While looking at a number of decks last week while I was on break, I noticed Werewolves were doing pretty well, and I knew I had to try this deck out, and I'm very impressed with it. I played a number of different versions of the deck. They were doing things a little bit differently, but mostly the same idea. We're gonna be smashing face, of course, it's Werewolves, what do you want? But I changed a few cards that weren't feeling quite right to me, and I think I arrived at a pretty good makeup of the deck. So, gonna go over a few of the cards in the deck and, well, jump into some games, see how they go. All right, let's talk about some of these cards. We'll start off with the 3 copies of the 3/3 Dire Overlord. It says, whenever a wolf or a werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. This thing has drawn me a ton of cards during my practice with the deck. Absolutely love it. It's super impactful at all times. It is a bit of a lightning rod, and with 3 toughness, it does die pretty easily, but I still think it's very important to the deck. It also has a secondary ability that allows you to change it from day to night if you control 3 or more wolves and or werewolves, and that is including the Dire Overlord himself. Then when it does transform to night, Tovalor becomes a 4/4, maintains the draw card ability, and gains a pump ability. Speaking of vital werewolves, we're playing 4 copies of the Reckless Stormseeker, a 2/3 for 3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature gains +1/+0 and haste until the end of turn. And if it has transformed into the Storm Charge Slasher, it gains +2/+0 trample and haste instead of just +1 and haste. Also becomes a 3/4. This thing is always super impactful. Every time it hits the battlefield, it's going to do big things for you. Then the last flip werewolf from the latest set is the Kessig Naturalist, a 2/2 for 2 that generates a mana every time it attacks. And then if it flips to the Lord of the Elven World during night, it becomes a 3/3 Lord for wolves and werewolves, and it also maintains that mana generating ability. To round out the true werewolves, we're playing 4 copies of Werewolf Pack Leader, a 3/3 for 2. Gonna draw us more cards. Also has a pretty sweet pump ability that gains a trample. Shouldn't be ignored. And the honorary wolf of the deck is the Ranger class. It creates a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Also does some other cool stuff. It's going to be impactful. Love this card so much. Now, this is a Collected Company deck, so we are playing some other cards that complement Collected Company. 4 copies of Llanowar Elves allows us to get to Collected Company a turn early. Then we're playing 4 copies of Bonecrusher Giant, because why wouldn't we be playing this awesome 3 CMC creature that also has Stomp attached to it? And then the card that I added to the deck, I took out Burning Tree Emissary. A lot of decks were playing that card. I just found it pretty low impact. Instead, I put in a couple of Augur of Autumns, 3 to be exact. This thing is a 2/3 for 3, not a werewolf, but it does work very well with our deck. It allows us to look at the top card of our library at any time. It allows us to play lands from the top of our deck. And then if we have Coven activated, which means we have 3 or more creatures with different powers, we can cast creatures from the top of our library. It shouldn't be too hard to get the Coven going. We do have 1/1s, 2/3s, 4/3s, 3/3s. Our power levels are all over the place, so it shouldn't be the hardest thing to do. Then playing 2 copies of Embercleave because it's Embercleave, and then Arlen, the Pack's Hope. I've played werewolf decks without Arlen. I've played werewolf decks with Arlen, and I definitely prefer having Arlen in the deck. 2 in the main, 1 in the side. Its +1 ability is just so impactful in my opinion. It says until your next turn, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash, and each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Doesn't matter how those creatures enter the battlefield, they are going to get a +1/+1 counter. So if we cast a Collected Company, those creatures entering the battlefield are going to get +1/+1. If we have an Augur of Autumn on the field and we cast creatures with that card from the top of our library with the Arlen +1 ability, they're going to get +1/+1s. Even if we attack with a Den of the Bugbear after activating the +1/+1, or sorry, the +1 ability, I believe the 1/1 red goblin creature token that enters the battlefield is going to enter with a +1/+1 on it. I don't see why not. I haven't personally done that one yet, but I think that's going to be the case. She also has a pretty sweet -3 ability that you can use when she enters the battlefield. Create 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. Sometimes you just need more bodies on the field. And if it is nighttime, Arlen becomes a beast, probably going to be activating that 0 ability most of the time, creating a 5/5 werewolf with indestructible and haste and trample. Oh my god, all of those cool things. Over in the lands, it's a pretty typical land base for Gruul. I am playing Rockfall Vale over the Rootbound Crag. I personally like the Vale a little bit better than the Crag, but if you have Crags and you don't want to craft Vales, just play Crags. It's fine. Over in the sideboard, we have ways of destroying artifacts and enchantments. It's pretty sweet werewolf. I've seen some decks playing this in the main board. I like it in the side. I think that's where it belongs. Scavenging Ooze to fight against graveyard decks. Rampaging Ferocodon to shut down life gain. Playing 3 copies of this in the sideboard. I think it's important. It has Menace, so it's a pretty good attacker. And it also pings our opponents every time a creature enters the battlefield under their control. It also hurts us, and we are playing a lot of creatures, but I think for the most part it's going to have better impact for our side of the field. That additional copy of Arlen is right here. 3 copies of Abrade, just in case we need additional removal or ways of destroying artifacts. Clothis comes in against control, pretty good in those matchups, and that's the same for Isika's Chariot, bring it in against control. It can be something that's very difficult for the control player to deal with. Creates the 2/2 bodies that they have to wipe away, and then we can throw a creature onto the field and maybe crew the Chariot to swing in for 4 damage after a big board wipe. Last card in the deck is 1 copy of Glorybringer, and I was a little skeptical of Glorybringer at first, but you know what? It has been performing pretty well. I love its exert ability, and it's a 4/4 flying haste creature. How great is that? So that is the deck. Gonna jump into some games. Hopefully they perform well, or the deck performs well, and well, just gotta see how it goes. See you over there. All right, Werewolves in Historic best of 3. Also, the first time out with the new computer, with everything that's been going on. I've been spending some time trying to get this green screen and everything set up and working properly, and it has been an ordeal. I'm not sure if the green screen is working properly. I've been trying different things, trying blue screen, trying a green screen. Yeah, it's just been kind of all over the place, and I think the big problem is probably the lighting in this room. I just can't quite get it right. I'm not a professional with that by any means, so, you know, issues. Pretty interesting there. The opponent shocked in this breeding pool and put out a Death Bonnet Sprout. So what does that mean? Does that mean they have a counter spell possibly? There's no counterspell for creatures, though, with 1 mana, so I think we're fine. It's a consider. Okay. So this is going to be pretty sweet. I'll be able to give the Reckless Stormseeker +1/+0 in haste, which means 6 power, and I can attack in with both creatures and maybe draw a card. Definitely draw a card. Okay. Yeah, love that interaction right there. It's pretty powerful. Now, they could throw one of these sprouts in front of it, but they're not going to. I really like that the opponent's playing the Death Bonnet Sprout. This card is pretty awesome. I experimented with this type of deck, and it was pretty rough, I'll tell you that. But a whole lot of fun to play. Okay, so the opponent actually didn't play any cards this last turn, which means it flipped to Night, meaning our Storm Charge Slasher is a little bit bigger, and I think I'm going to try to jam the Midnight Scourge, give it +2 haste and trample, and I'm just gonna swing big. If they want to trade there, that's super fine. Okay, so we get to draw a card because of the trample damage, and feeling pretty good. I think next turn the plan's going to be Mountain. Oh, the opponent gets stuck. Okay, yeah, going to stick to the plan. Mountain, that plus this allows us to pump, and yeah, the opponent just cannot keep up. I think bringing in the Scavenging Oozes are going to be, or is going to be, a pretty good idea. Maybe eat some of this graveyard stuff that they got going on. Otherwise, I think the deck is okay. Maybe Clothis too. Yeah, we'll do. Although Clothis isn't really great against that type of graveyard deck. Maybe I'll just ignore that for a second. Okay, let's go down one Ranger class and maybe one Augur of Autumn. Try it like that. All right, so how you guys been for the last week? Had a pretty relaxing time. I didn't do a whole lot. Been messing around with things, trying to get everything all figured out, which has taken up a ton of time. Also been playing quite a bit of Diablo, but I think the Diablo bug has started to fade a little bit from me. I'm sure I'll keep popping back on and playing it. I think it's going to be one of those perfect games to just kind of play here and there. All right, so the opponent, Throne of Death. Oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm definitely going to be putting out a Mountain. Now, the question is, do I want to go with the Stormseeker or do I want to go with Tovalor? If I go with the Stormseeker, I can attack in this turn, and the next turn I can put in the Dire Overlord and give it haste. I think this is probably going to be better overall. So it is now Daybound. We get our little reminder over here. If the opponent doesn't cast any card, then things are going to get real bad for them. Okay. I think things are still pretty bad for the opponent. Ooh. Arlen, interesting. So put this out on the red side. I could go out with Arlen, make some wolves. I could just slam the Overlord and go hard. I kind of like Arlen a little better. Maybe I should have done this post-combat. No, this is better. Because I can give one of the wolves haste. Yeah, I like this. I like this play a little bit better. Alright, so with the Embercleave next turn, things might get real fun. They do flip their Death Bonnets, though. Get that awesome art. Look how cool that is. Yeah, definitely not blocking that. That's fine. Did they have a board wipe? Board wipe would suck, but... Okay. New card for me. Old Stick Fingers. Enters as a 6/6. When you cast this spell, reveal cards from top of your library until you reveal X creature cards. So it was 2. Put all the creature cards revealed this way into the graveyard, then put the rest on the bottom of your library. Old Stick Fingers power and toughness equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. That's sweet. Okay, so I can put in... I gotta make sure my math is gonna be right. Attack with 4. Yeah, okay. Sorry. No, what are you doing? Game almost messing me up there. So I can put in the big boy here. And then attack with 4 creatures. And get the win. Doesn't matter how they block. Embercleave is a busted card. We'll put it on the Stormseeker since it was definitely the all-star of the game. Draw 2 cards. I just draw so many cards. Alright, that is a pretty great start to the deck. Love it, love it, love it. Let's keep going. Alright, match number 2. That last one was fast. I didn't realize it was over in 7 minutes. Kind of just ran over the opponent. A little bit of an unfortunate thing. While I was testing my recording software, that one map was still messing up. I kind of thought that that was a problem with my computer, but it turns out it might just be a Magic Arena problem. So if I get that stupid yellow tree up in the top right corner, I'm going to have to skip those games again until I figure out a fix. I'm still looking into things, but not exactly a lot of information out there about that. So I'm really glad that they decided to Bone Crusher my face and not my Naturalist. That, yeah. Now, here comes the Bone Crusher Giant. Oh, no. So we're up against just regular old Gruul. I don't know if I can race Gruul. So do I want to trade off my Naturalist? Not particularly. No. Hurts. We'll take it, though. So I think it's going to be the Stormseeker. Stormseeker giving himself haste and attack for 5. Oh, yeah. Irrelevant mana generation there. But next turn, maybe it'll be something. Can maybe get one of these Bone Crusher Giants going. Okay. The Bone Crusher Giants might line up pretty well against these Burning Tree Emissaries. Never mind. New problem. Okay, it is us who is getting run over. Pretty sweet Embercleave interaction with the Naturalist there. I didn't really think about before. I don't think there's a whole lot I can do here other than put out the Bone Crusher Giant and then try to survive. Okay. Yeah, might be in trouble here. Although them playing the Bone Crusher Giant, not too bad. Okay. So we block there. We have to block, and we have to block. Go down to 1. No, that's a... Oh, I can't block. Yeah, I was going to say I should put this there, but I can't do that. So that's the best block? I guess so. I don't think I can... I can't rally from this. Especially with that stomping ground there. I wonder if I put out the wrong land at some point in this game. Okay. I think it's just another Bone Crusher Giant to the field. The problem is I gotta throw this Reckless Stormseeker underneath the Bone Crusher Giant. I don't really like doing that. If they have an Embercleave here, we're done. Well, it flips to night, so that's good. And I can put out 2 creatures. Which is going to flip it back to day. Okay, maybe I can hold on here. Especially if this Augur can... If I can get out enough cards that I can start doing a little bit things with the Augur, that would be really good. Do I attack with the Augur and put the Embercleave on it? I feel like I could just die at any moment if they draw. But if they draw... What am I thinking? Questing Beast? I'm dead anyways, right? Bone Crusher Giant, I'm dead. Yeah. So weird. Alright, so no Bone Crusher Giant, please. That would be the nightmare. Oh, I probably should have switched that to the wolf, werewolf pack leader. Wow, 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 wow. I can't believe it. Holding on like that. Alright, now I gotta think about a sideboard. That was wild. The opponent flooding out. Alright. Pretty happy with that. I feel like Glorybringer's going to be alright in this matchup. I'm wondering about a braid. Maybe not. Scavenging Ooze seems a little vulnerable. I don't really want two toughness creatures out on the field. They just get stomped too effectively, which means I might take out one of these naturalists. Maybe I want some number of abrades. Maybe I just go down all my Llanowar Elves. That might be best. Okay. I'm not sure. Rampaging Ferocidon was also a consideration there. Anyways, got lucky. Keep moving forward. Opening hand looks pretty awesome. Need to go double green at some point because of the Werewolf Pack Leader. That's really the only big... Wow. Double green on the Werewolf Pack Leader and then double red on the Embercleave are the two big mana requirements. But I think for the most part, you're going to be getting that naturally. Okay, Llanowar Elf for the opponent, so we just put this in tapped, and then maybe stomp or abrade something next turn. If they don't go too hard, it might just be a Werewolf Pack Leader. Well, they're putting out everything. I kind of want to put out the pack leader so I can challenge the Bone Crusher Giant. If they are down to 2 cards, if they attack in, I don't mind trading here, I think. Let's see what they're up to. They could also, if they have a red source and an Embercleave, they could, in theory, attack with Burning Tree Emissary and Bone Crusher Giant. And why am I saying it? Oh, it's going to happen. Here it comes. Is Embercleave. Are they gonna do it now? Yeah. All right. Oh, it sucks. It sucks so much. Hopefully, I'm wrong. I've never wanted to be wrong in my life. More. Oh no. Yeah. Well. At least I do have the abrade. However, I'm kind of dead already. So it's got to be the abrade on the Embercleave. And then just hope. I don't know. Okay. Let's take 7. Put out the wolf, and then I guess stomp the Burning Tree Emissary, chump block with the wolf, and just survive. Never mind. All right. Well, they had like the perfect. Oh wow. Okay. Those 10 cards were probably as ideal as 10 cards could have been. So I'm not going to worry too much about that loss, considering got a little bit lucky with the first game and managed to survive. All right, I think the deck is fine though, the way it is. Yeah, maybe being on the play, maybe I should have brought in the Llanowar Elves so I can get out early. Yeah, maybe. Okay, opening hand looks great. No turn 1 play, so throw out the Veil tapped. Yeah, really impressed with this card overall. Is it kill the Llanowar Elf or the Ranger class? I think I'm fine just putting out the Ranger class, probably leveling it up next turn. If they put out something nasty, I can abrade it. Okay, so they have like the exact same opening hand. But at least I get to do this now. Take 2 damage from old Stompy. And I think hold off. And then it's just going to be Collected Company. Try to make something of it. And Well, they give me the BTE. I think I'm fine with that. Okay. Okay, collect a company has to hit huge. That's an Embercleave again. Lucky opponent hitting all the embers. Ooh, ooh. Terrible. Terrible. It doesn't matter, does it? Okay. Well, that's the power of Gruul. Is what it is. Not dead yet. Now I'm dead. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what I do. Embercleave on the Questing Beast with Death Touch is pretty potent, because even if I put out the Bone Crusher Giant, they can just assign 1 damage to it, and they actually kill me with that first strike. Not to mention, they still have 5 more damage coming in afterwards. So, GG's? Yep. Got my hearts back. So we give the opponent the old hearts and concede it. Gruul aggro, when it has those opening starts, you're not going to really do too much against that. Anyways, one more. All right. Match 3. So going pretty quick, though. If this ends up being a fast one, I might have to play 4 games instead of 3. Opening hand looks good. That is the one thing I've been saying quite a bit, so getting lucky on that part of things. Okay. Well, bye-bye. Do I want to go pack leader or ranger class? I think I feel better with the ranger class. Yeah. One thing I did change about the deck is I went up a land. The previous build of the deck was a little shy on lands, and it just didn't feel too great. I'm wondering if I should level up the ranger class or put out the pack leader. I think I'm going to go level up here, because I think they're going to kill the 2/2. I want them to use their spells on the 2/2. Really? Opus. Well, that's not fun. Okay, so it is Jeskai Opus, and they have Mizzix Mastery. Good old turn 3 Mizzix Mastery. So, things haven't changed in the world of historics. People still doing degenerate things. But we'll see if we can bounce back. It would have been nice to hit a land there, but Bone Crusher Giant might be okay with this Embercleave eventually coming down. Boy, oh boy. Well, I guess I used up all of my good fortune on those first few games, because things are looking real dire now. But the dire Overlord comes in to maybe help us out. No, another Lightning Helix. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, man. Maybe I should take another week break. Oh, it's Teferi. All right. Sure. Doesn't mean there isn't a Lightning Helix in my future. Oh boy. I would love to attack, but I don't really want to lose. I don't want to lose it to the 4/4. Alright. Wow. I really didn't expect that. I really thought it was going to die. Alright. So I think that's fine, because I can hopefully get this on the field. Make 2/2s. And have a bit of a board presence. They might have a board wipe, but they're on only 1 white source, so they will need a little bit more help to do that. Okay, that looks like a desperation play to me. It's maybe good news. There's the second white source, so if they shock that in, they have the Wrath of God. Yeah, I know a lot of decks have switched to the Anger, and that's pretty brutal. So I could just +1 and then flash in the Werewolf Pack Leader, but that seems pretty low impact. So I don't think it's really important to change it to Knight. I'll just put out the Ranger class, get the 3/3, and then flash in the Pack Leader later. Okay. So remember what I said about game 3 or match 3 maybe being quick and I can maybe play another game. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. Try to put it on the field. Kind of feeling like a memory lapse. Could be wrong though. I want to be wrong. Okay. Could they hardcast a... I think they could hardcast a Magma Opus now. 2, 4, 6... No, 1 short. Okay. Well now. I'm maybe... Oh, man. Oh, man. Why? Why you gotta be like that? Why are you the way you are? Alright. Let's go. It's go time. Embercleave. Failing to kill Teferi, but giving him a nice little smack in the face.
You know what?
Our sideboard plan is pretty big against the control deck, so hopefully game 2 and game 3, wow, we'll go a little bit better. Well, not out of this yet, though. Like, they do have a lot of cards, but I could always level up a Ranger class to 4. Maybe make something happen through that. Oh, they have a double Anger? Is that what's happening here? Or they just have a Lightning Helix. Third Lightning Helix. Yeah. And we find that land. Not cool. Not cool at all. Okay, I'll put out the Overlord, equip it with the Embercleave. So at least it's a 4/4, a little bit harder to deal with. And
we need to move quickly.
This is my hopeful face right now. Hands crossed. Expressive iteration, busted card. They're at 25 life. Board wipe. Incoming. Because that would be unfair. Oh. Well, Arlen Core. I want to keep calling it Arlen Cord. Cord? I'm not sure. Because of the old card. It'll be a 5/5 because of the Ranger class. They might have another Torrential Gearhulk, but if that's the case, it's the case. I feel like I gotta get rid of this Teferi. Okay. Brutal. Alright. I feel bad. I feel real bad. I kind of feel like our opponents have been just hitting the dreams with all of their cards in the last couple of games. Okay, those are all going to definitely come in. They feel good in this matchup. I'm not sure how Embercleave honestly feels. I don't think I'm going to get too many good attacks with it. Maybe it's wrong to take it out, but I don't know. Llanowar Elf, it's probably fine. Although I might just shave 1/1. And Bone Crusher's pretty good, though. We'll go down 2 Llanowar Elves. All right. Yeah, that Gruul matchup, games 2 and game 3, like the craziest hands I've ever seen, and this opponent drew exceptionally well against what we were doing. Uh, that looks like an unkeepable hand. This looks equally bad, but I think I have to try it, and it's probably going to be the Arlen that goes back. Maybe it's this fella. No, Arlen. Put out the Veil first. I'm not going to be able to play the Wolf Pack. Maybe it was this card that went. I didn't think about the double green resource requirement, and now pretty bad. However, if I attack with the Naturalist, I do get... I'm not even going to finish that point. Yeah. Okay. Mega punished. But find another land and yeah, okay. All right. Everybody still loves Jeskai, right? That's a thing. That didn't change over the last week of not playing Magic. Jeskai. Oh man. Wow. Wow. Cool. Cool. What is like, goodness gracious, just the god draw. So we had a mulligan once, getting stuck on lands and found 0 of the sideboard cards. In fact, 0 sideboard cards and 3 uncastable cards. So this is entering the realm of maximum sadness. Hey, it's nighttime. Oh man. I don't think I'm doing this deck justice right now. The last 2 games have definitely not been highlighting the potential of this deck. Wow. It's not like I have a very high curve or anything, but 5 unplayable cards in hand against the big bad, who's going to Torrential Gear Hulk me right now. Oh, it's just the Prismari. Could have been a lot worse. So they're up to 9 mana. It's an Opus. Hard cast. That's fun. They get to take my mana away from me that is useless. But at least I get to hit them for 2 with the Bone Crusher Giant. You want to bet I draw my land here? Oh! It would have been playable. Alright. I'm playing a 4th game. This is so... You know what? Yeah, I'm done with this. I want to see the card. I don't want to see the card. Oh my goodness. Okay. Werewolves. One more. Okay. So, the goal for this game, hopefully Infamous Pete can abide and help us out a little bit. No tier 0 decks, because I feel like getting slammed by Gruul and then Jeskai with... Can't believe how amazing their hands were. I don't want to face that anymore. So please play something reasonable. It might be the case. So let's go out with the, pack leader. Opponent playing Forgotten Cave. Those last 2 games probably... I mean, this is a good card. A little underappreciated. Okay. Perfect answers. Only natural that would be the case. Reckless Stormseeker, I guess, comes in, attacks for 3, sets it to day. And then next turn, if I can get down this Bone Crusher Giant and attack in with haste, that would have been sweet. Not gonna happen. Oh, I know what the opponent's up to. Well, this just sucks, right? Do I just kill the Chandra? I think I kill the Chandra. And then I can put out one of these naturalists. Doesn't matter. Alright. Yeah, this is cool. This is just big green, big red rather. They can have a cataracts, I guess. Well, there are worse cards because now I at least get to flip my naturalist. Oh, I always forget about that. Maybe I should have put in the Stomping Ground untapped, and then I could have put in the other naturalist. But maybe it's fine. Love that art. Look at that. Okay, looking at the top of their deck, they find a Mind Stone. Yep, they can have the Mind Stone, I suppose. For glory. Do they exert it? Of course they exert it. Almost. Almost. That would have been real cool. Hey, Stormseeker's pretty awesome here. Okay. This is going to knock them out of werewolf times, but do I give it... I want to kill that. Alright. Hopefully there isn't an Ugin in my near future. A lot of power suddenly out of this deck. That's one of the really cool things about it. But you really want to keep it at nighttime. You lose so much power when the sun rises. If I can manage to keep this board here, put it at the Bone Crusher Giant, give it haste with the Reckless Stormseeker, and then they're done so. They have 4 mana to do something. I don't think there's much they can do. All right. 3 mana. They can still sweep the board with a Anger of the Gods. It's not an Anger of the Gods. So I think this should be good. Cool. Cool. So able to take down the mono red ramp deck. What do I want to bring in? Is it worth bringing in a Braids? I kind of feel like it probably isn't. Maybe a Glory Bringer of our own. They're going to have more Glory Bringers. I wonder what their threats are. I wonder if they have Ugin. That's a really big wonder. And I don't know how deep they go on the artifacts. Kind of feel like I just want to run them over, keep the deck the way it is, and try to go as fast as I can. Maybe bring in 1 Glory Bringer as like an ender. Take out an Augur. Yeah, I don't know. Try something like that. I have no idea. I have very little experience against the chonky red decks. I know they were quite popular in Pioneer, I don't know, 2 years ago, year and a half ago. But I'm not sure how they really play in this. I have messed around with them, but they didn't feel right, and I just kind of gave up on them pretty quickly. Okay. I like where this is. Augur of Autumn's also double green. I don't think I mentioned that earlier, so something to keep in mind. Okay, lead on the Veil as usual. And hopefully they don't have... Oh, I see you. Cheeky boy. You're a little late. Hopefully they don't have another Abrade. That would be very annoying. But if they just put out something not super impactful. I can get out this Stormseeker and attack for 6. Draw a card. Look at this. Cheeky. Okay, they're going to be up to 7 mana potentially next turn. That sucks. That really sucks. Okay, didn't really need a second Embercleave, but here we are. Chandra, wiping that board. And she's at an... I can kill it. I guess it's okay. Man, I love this card. Love everything about it. I don't love that it dies to all Chandras, though. I guess that's a thing.
Time to toast your marshmallows.
All right, Infamous Pete. I'm starting to not really like what you're doing with your time here. Get rid of that. It would have been nice to draw a land, but MTGA is a little bit against me. I was on a bit of a hot streak earlier when I was testing the deck. I did climb pretty quickly up through rank 4 and 3 of Platinum. Maybe it's time for the game to kind of level the playing field a bit, right? Conspiracy theory hats, tinfoil hats going on, and all that good stuff. Do get a game 3 out of this, though. Yep. That's unfair.
You want to play with fire, huh?
All of this seems very unfair. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9 mana to 3. Okay. We'll try again. We'll try again. I still don't think the Abrades are good. Is the Chariot any good? I think I just gotta draw a little bit better. That's all, right? Draw better. 90% of the game. Outdraw your opponent. I think it's okay. Collected Company is worth a ton. They're on a little bit of a mulligan. Not too bad. Okay. Sure. Don't have it. Don't have it. Play a Mind Stone. Ow! Dirty dog. You dirty dog. I think I want to play the Dire Overlord more than the Ranger class here, just because it's going to work really well with the Collected Company next turn if it gets to that point. They're kind of eyeing it up like they have another Abrade, though. Okay, good news. We get to flip and draw. And Collected Company next turn? Wow. Possible huge turn coming. It would kind of suck if they had a Chandra here. Yeah, but I might be able to save my Scourge if they decide to try to kill it. If I can hit a Lord. I hit the Lord. Doo, 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 doo. Oh, it's so big. It's so big. Okay, Ranger class works pretty well here. How much damage do I have? 8 plus 5, 13. Do I just attack face? Is that too greedy? I think it's too greedy. Oh, I should have attacked fate. I should have attacked all face now that I draw the Glorybringer. The Glorybringer would have been lethal for the next turn. I think it's okay, though. Refilled our hand. They're down to 6 mana, potentially. They could Big Chandra, but even that won't wipe the board. Cleansing Wildfire is cool, but not really enough. I think Werewolves might actually... I'm still scared. Anger. Sure. Okay. I don't think I need to mess around. I can just attack, get the win. Draw a card. Draw 2 more cards. Draw so many cards. Yes. Werewolves can do it. Okay. Wrap up. Back up to rank 2. Let's go. All right. I, as usual, don't have a whole lot to say. The deck is sweet. The deck plays incredibly well. I think the sideboard is probably just about right. The main board, I think it's solid. Nothing in the main board feels bad. I love the Augur of Autumn being in the deck. I'm not seeing a lot of people playing that, but I do feel like it is good. Now, whether I want 2 or 3, that's another question. I don't know. Also, 22 lands instead of the usual 21 that I have been seeing online seems to be where I should be. I occasionally get land screwed. It's a thing. It's going to happen. Overall, love the deck. Love the way the Werewolves work, how they flip. I think all of them, the 3, the Naturalist, the Stormseeker, and Dire Overlord are all super great. Arlen, my new sweetheart. Love everything about her. The only thing that I think can feel a little bit awkward in the deck is Embercleave, but I think it does lead to some big wins. Probably like it in the deck. I don't see myself taking it out. So that's the deck. Let me know what you think about it. If you've tried Werewolves in Historic, have you run into Werewolves in Historic as well? I would love to know if other people are actually playing this deck. I know it's putting up numbers here and there, and I do see it on deck list results and such. Yeah. So anyways, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video on Wednesday. Bye-bye for now.